We've gone through many different methods that help marketing analysts collect data related to online behavior. And before we look at an example of how all these different methods can be applied, there's one more concept I would like to cover. That is the UID. UID stands for Unique User ID. It is a unique text or number string that identifies a person, and it is created when a user logs in. So there are Facebook UIDs, Google UIDs, and many others. There are also device IDs, associating a unique person with a device, like a phone, for instance. When you create an account on an online platform like Facebook, Google, Amazon, and so on, you provide them with some information and you create a login, a user ID, and a password. Let's say you create an account with Google, for example. Google will create a text or number string to associate with your unique account and link that string to the information you provided. This text or number string is your unique ID, in this case your Google ID, and it will help the company associate data with your account. Now, no matter through which browser or device you access Google, all your behavior can be associated with that ID, as long as you're logged in. That's super helpful, as it enables the platform, in this case Google, to connect what you do on your computer with your usage on mobile, for instance. So anywhere you use your Google login, your behavior can be stored and linked to your Google ID. For publishers or platforms that use UIDs, it helps them to overcome some of the challenges they face when they use cookies. Remember that cookies are stored in the browser, but sometimes people use different browsers, or they access a site on a computer and later again on a mobile phone, for instance. The UID makes it possible for publishers to link behavior from a person on different browsers and on apps so that it's possible to get a clearer and more complete picture of the user across platforms. With a UID, interests, behaviors, demographics, and other information can be stored. Anytime a person logs in, behaviors can be associated with them. In the introduction to this video, I also referred to device IDs. These are also important for marketers. In both iOS and Android, an ID is stored in the settings of the device, and that ID can be accessed by advertisers if the user allows it. When users interact with advertising in an app and they have opted in to share their device ID with advertisers, it makes it possible for the advertiser to advertise to you across different apps. That way, they can show ads and track behavior on one app, like Instagram for instance, and then use that information to advertise to you while you're using a different app. This type of tracking used to be a default setting in most phones. Nowadays, apps on Apple devices have to prompt their users to ask for permission to track their behavior and use that data across apps. You may have seen this message pop up on your phone when you are opening an app. It specifically asks you whether you are okay with this app tracking you and sharing your data with advertisers. This is a recent effort by Apple to protect users' privacy. It's important to note that UIDs use a number or text file, but they don't store personally identifiable information. Personally identifiable information is any information that would help someone to identify a person, like your name, for instance. You will hear marketers also refer to this as PII. Actually, these days, most companies go through a lot of effort to protect your personal data. Companies that work with online data will often use data hashing for that. In data hashing, the original data item gets translated into a hashed data item by applying an algorithm. As a result, what's stored is unrecognizable unless you have the hashing key, another algorithm that lets you reverse the data back to its original form. This is an extra safety measure to help keep people's privacy intact. Now you know the main ways in which behavioral data is collected online. We looked at web server logs, cookies, pixels or tags, SDKs and APIs, and now you also understand what UIDs are. That was a lot to cover, and these concepts can be a bit confusing at times. Don't worry, we'll repeat them again in other parts of the program, and gradually their different applications will become increasingly clear. In the next lesson, we'll go through an example of how a company might use all of these different ways to collect data. It's a good opportunity to further practice these concepts. I'll see you there.